Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS, and now is the time to strike. and for those main beholder fights to commence. So in this episode we're going to face off against the special types of beholders, and I think for that reason this episode is going to contain quite a lot of explaining, so bear with me here. First off, we're going to fight against a Hive Mother, which is one of these special high-level types of beholders, and of course it couldn't be that easy, right? To face off against a Hive Mother alone. Of course she's going to have also a group of beholders and Gauths with her. They are actually pretty close by. And as for the Hive Mother, it has 75% resistance to magic and also all elemental types of damage, 50% resistance to physical damage, and 200 HP on top of that. So it's quite sturdy, especially when coupled with some protection spells that she's going to have as well. And also it's pretty unique in the fact that it has a strong melee attack. Normally beholders can't really hold their own too well when it comes to their physical damage, but this one actually has very good THAC0 and can deal up to 30 damage, or 31, something like that, with its bite, I guess. Also it has, you know, the usual assortment of its rays. Its rays actually drain charges from items with charges like wands and items with something, you know, on use on them. So we're actually going to drop all of our wands and such items on the ground, with the exception of this one, Wand of Fire. And we're going to do the same on Imoen and on Edwin, and we're going to retrieve these wands later. And we're going to keep on to that Golem Summoning Manual because we're going to get Fleshy again to help us. But anyway, also it has a pretty nasty, like, double damage cause serious wounds, that Hive Mother, so we're definitely going to pre-buff with protection from magic energy. And it's also unique in the fact that it can see invisibility. That's the exception that we've mentioned in the previous episode, but this is the one that can actually see invisible. And it also has some spells with her. Some damaging spells, like some chain lightnings it can throw around, I think. But primarily, it has remove magic. And you can get so easily caught off guard by it. Like, you can have, you know, all of your assortment of protections. You can have your spell shield to absorb one anti-magic ray. And then she just casts remove magic, dispels all your buffs, and then you're like, well, I guess I'm going to die now. Because without your protections, you just get, like, insta-killed. And yeah, bamboozled by that remove magic, but we are not going to get bamboozled because we have that spell immunity against abjuration at our disposal. But anyway, since this is going to be a Hive Mother plus a group of beholders, we're going to split our group into two, and we're basically going to have Edwin with some summons as a kind of a flank force that's going to engage first, and then our main strike force is going to be Senashira with some backup from Kiranai and Imoen, who are going to also be protected. So first let's summon some skeleton warriors, since they last for so long. And I think two of them are going to be enough. Also the improved haste on Senashira expired, but we have another one, and we're going to use it right here, I think, to deliver all that damage that we need to. And later on we're not really going to need it as much, plus we're going to totally get dispelled anyway. So yeah, now we need the buffs on Imoen and Kiranai. Even if they get dispelled by anti-magic ray, it doesn't really matter. Imoen just needs to throw in one spell, and Kiranai as much as possible. I would like her to aid us with her physical damage, but if she cannot and you know, gets dispelled by that anti-magic ray and we have to pull her back, that's fine as well. So we're going to have to pre-buff them with chaotic commands and Death Ward. And also protection from petrification, and the same on Kiranai here. And Death Ward and protection from petrification. Alright, now that this is done, let me think about that. Of course, we need that protection from magic energy on Senashira. And we're going to also give her improved haste, but that's going to be in a second. First on Edwin, we're going to use Polymorph Self, because he's going to be a mustard jelly in this encounter. And we're also going to give him one potion of invisibility, because he is going to enter the fight invisible. And although the Hive Mother can see invisibility, that's why we're entering from the flank. We're going to first engage the other beholders, kind of try to take their attention, and then the Hive Mother is going to be engaged with our main strike force here. So I think that's going to be it here. We're going to now buff up with improved haste on Senashira. She is going to get herself a spell shield, and Imoen is going to do the same. Imoen is actually going to give herself some mirror images, and we're going to do the same with Kiranai from her nifty sword. Alright. We're also going to give the Boots of Speed to Imoen, I think, so that she can maneuver better. And yeah, now let's go with Edwin here. Let's summon ourselves Fleshy. Right, so here's Edwin with his little army. He's going to go invisible, because of course we need to move with him in his human form, because you know the mustard jellies are extremely immobile in these like narrow hallways. They can't move at all. So yeah, Edwin is needed here to give vision and also to be a mustard jelly and do some additional stuff. So yeah, here are the beholders and the Gouths. So I think we're going to let our summons in first. And now prepare with our strike force here. Senashira is also going to get that spell immunity to abjuration now. And now it's about to go down, this whole encounter. Alright, so let's go in, try to occupy some of their attention. Edwin is going to go in and turn into a mustard jelly right here. Alright, that's the Hive Mother. Although she sees invisible, now she can't really do anything about Edwin being a mustard jelly. And I think she cast, or is about to cast, that remove magic, I think, on Edwin. And also I would like to inspect her pre-buffs. So she starts with improved mantle, and I think also casts Stone Skin. So we can easily breach that, and that's the job of Imoen. So first we're going to engage with Senashira here. Imoen is just needed to cast this one quick breach. We also have a backup breach on Senashira, especially since I think that Hive Mother can renew its Stone Skin after a couple of rounds, and we're going to have Kiranai ready to do some damage. And we also can, just as to keep them busy, we can unleash this minor spell sequencer on Edwin with some glitter dusts. Maybe some of them are going to get blinded, they're going to start like dispelling each other and just wasting their time. Yes. And here, when it comes to this contingency with Spell Shield on Senashira, basically the plan here is that whenever she gets damaged, dispelled by anti-magic ray, we'll see how it goes. Like, she can get still damaged, I think, by telekinesis. I think that's physical damage that kind of bypasses Stone Skin. It's kind of weird how it works, but I think she might get damaged and the spell shield can get triggered automatically, and that's going to be fine. But if it doesn't, we can trigger it ourselves with our Wand of Fire. We're just going to throw in a fireball that also is going to damage Senashira, and then trigger another spell shield. So basically we're going to keep Senashira's rounds open and cast this breach on Imoen first, and then we should be good to go. And we're going to drop this wand here so that it's easily available, but we don't want its charges drained once this Hive Mother turns its attention to Senashira. And yeah, I think we can unpause and see what happens here. Alright, that breach hit, so now we can go in with our guys and see what happens here. Alright, some of them I think got blinded. Yeah, some Gouth got blinded, and I think that's the extent of it. But anyway, we can interrupt the Hive Mother spells, that's nice. It can still throw its rays, of course, and here's another beholder that unfortunately went this way. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Whenever Kiranai gets dispelled by anti-magic ray or Imoen, we can just pull them out of here and just continue with Senashira alone. She should be protected well enough. Yeah, basically it seems like that Hive Mother wants Kiranai. But Kiranai is protected against the stuff that this Hive Mother is doing, and it's not using its anti-magic ray. And this Beholder didn't do it either. Let me just make sure. Yeah, they're kind of using their anti-magic rays to dispel each other from that blind. Alright, and our contingency did proc because of this magical damage. Yeah, even though we're immune to its cause serious wounds, it still procced our spell shield, but that's okay. We can hard cast spell shield if we need to. And yeah, it's injured now. Right, our summons try to take care of the beholders. This one is badly injured, so let's go with that. Yeah, of course, if you're polymorphed, you know, into a mustard jelly, for example, you can still use your special abilities like a spell sequencer. And so, yeah, taking advantage of that. Alright, badly injured. That Hive Mother, we are getting to it, although its resistances are supreme. Yeah, they're kind of wasting their anti-magic rays to like dispel each other. That's perfect. Alright, and there she goes. Where's my experience though? 50,000 for that Hive Mother. That's very nice. And now it's just clean up. We should be fine from here. But that's not even the most... that's far from the most difficult encounter. The main encounter is actually coming up. Alright, that Gauth, you know, don't go there, bro. I really don't want you there. Right, you need to be really, really careful and... Alright. Kind of hanging out there. Let's try to get through to it from a distance, because down this path is another major encounter that I don't want to do right now. Alright, so some damage coming Shira's way. And yeah, basically what the Gauth can do, we are protected against. And the little damage that it can do from afar, we can just out-heal if we need to. Alright, that's done. Okay, cool. This is going well. Okay, now we can retrieve our wands. So we're going to go back for that. Here's Sanashira's wand. Let's just use that. And there should be another wand here. Alright, so now she's back up and running. We also can loot this little pocket here, and this has a very nice sling. Let's just group up again, so that we can identify stuff and whatnot. Retrieve what we need to retrieve. These should be... yeah, these are Edwin's wands. So let's get them back, and now we can... where are your wands, Imoen? Right over here. Alright, we're fine now. Now let's just give her the boots. Although actually, she's going to keep the boots of speed for now, I think.
Yes, certainly.
Together with... actually, you know what? We're going to give them to Kiranai for a moment. But anyway, let's identify this sling. This is the Sling of Arvorine +4. So a nicely enchanted sling. Also with the Sonic Boom stun. That's easy to save against, but, you know, it's something at our disposal. And I think Anomen is going to get that. Since Jaheira has this nice Arla's Dragonbane +3, now Anomen is going to have a crossbow, a sling +4, and the Sling of Everard is going to go to Edwin to give him that nice Thaco boost that he definitely needs, and that's going to replace his normal sling +2. Alright, so that's one thing done. And now before we get to the big fight, actually, we need to go down here and take care of a... not really a significant encounter, but, you know... The skeleton warriors, I think, are too slow. I'm not going to wait for them. Here there is a couple of Gauths battling some mind flayers. And basically we are protected nicely enough. Okay. Apparently they interrupted Sanashira's... yeah, with the cast of mirror images would this cause serious wounds. That doesn't matter, I just wanted that for extra protection. Here we have, you know, these mind flayers and the Gauths fighting each other. We definitely want to focus all of our attention on the Mind Flayers, which are of course way more dangerous than the Gauths. But of course, compared to what we're going to face off against here, even the Mind Flayers are a cakewalk. And I think one of them might have teleported somewhere. No, he's here. Alright, so focusing all of our damage on them with improved haste and 9 attacks coming from Sanashira. They are not a problem at all. Alright, just wanted to get this out of the way, just so they don't interfere later. We can scavenge some of these potions, and now we're going to prepare for the big encounter, for the important one. And I think we're going to actually get rid of our skeleton warriors here, because they are going to interfere with our 5 summon limit. I think I'm going to want to have 4 summons so we can keep one of them alive, but at this point, even with their 90% magical resistance, they would get destroyed with what's about to happen here. Alright, so now we are going to face off against an Elder Orb, which is another special type of a beholder, also level 20. It has 50% magic resistance as well, 130 hit points, and also through spells it has immunity to fire, acid, and magic damage. But the fact that these immunities come from spells means that they can be breached. However, that's easier said than done. It's really only possible in theory, because we're going to also, aside from this Elder Orb, we're going to have to face off against a whole army of beholders, especially with SCS awareness. They are going to engage, join in that fight from like every which way. And also one thing that I omitted saying is that there's actually going to be another Elder Orb. There's going to be 2 of them. Because one of them is in a chamber nearby, and of course, due to SCS awareness, it's going to very soon arrive after we start the fight with the first one. There's basically a chamber here with the Elder Orb and a whole lot of beholders, gouts, and whatnot. So you know, it's possible to get through all of the protections that the Elder Orb has, because I didn't even get to the fact that it has a lot of spells, and it's going to start out with some spell protections. So we have that for one of these Elder Orbs. We'll see how the situation develops, but we have that spell sequencer with triple secret word, which should instantly dispel their spell protections, and then theoretically we could breach, and there's also possible to, you know, lower its 50% magic resistance, which of course can still interfere with your spell casting. So after all of that is done, we would be able to get to it with spells and breach its continuous like protections, because it has a lot of protection from magical weapons. It also has very deadly spells, including the level 9 power word kill. Mostly, you know, instant death spells, but it can also make itself improved invisible, so we would have to dispel that. It also has some anti-magic spells of its own, like a Ruby Ray. I think it has some breaches, stuff like that. So, you know, it's more in theory that you can dispel this Elder Orb with all of these spells and effects, and then get to it with spells and with breach, and kind of, you know, kill it like that. We're going to rely on a completely different strategy. And basically, there's so many things that can go wrong with this encounter, because the Elder Orbs also have some, you know, some spell sequencers of their own. So I think they always have a double web spell sequencer. So if, for example, if you get dispelled by an anti-magic ray, and, you know, get caught in that web, it's basically game over. Of course, there's going to be, you know, not only the Elder Orb with its spells and its beholder rays, of course, the normal assortment, with you know, the death ray, the anti-magic ray, all of that. There's also going to be, you know, all of these beholders around with their rays flying, like, you know, being shot like machine guns all over the place. And then that second Elder Orb is going to to join the fight. But also, so in that situation, taking all of that into account, it might look like, you know, your instinct might advise you, okay, so basically we need a form, we need to shapeshift into a form that gives us 100% magic resistance, right? And then just kind of go from there. But, surprise, surprise, the Elder Orbs have a spell trigger with triple lower resistance. That's going to lower your resistance by 90. So if you're in a form like Mustard Jelly, or the form that we are going to use, that has, you know, 100, then you just go down to 10, and you're completely vulnerable to everything that the beholders can do, and you just get owned in a few seconds at best. So it's like, what the hell, man? It would seem that these Elder Orbs have an answer to everything. However, there is one chink in their armor, and they don't have an answer to one thing: our secret weapon, the Nishru, and its slightly upgraded variant, the Hakashar, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. But before we get to all that, I also wanted to say that, of course, there are some cheesy kind of strategies that I'm not going to go for, that you could go for, because, you know, once you get hit by that spell trigger with the triple lower resistance, you can always keep a potion, like a potion of invisibility, And as soon as that spell trigger is unleashed, you can just drink the potion of invisibility, make yourself invisible, and even though the lower resistance is going to hit you, you can just go invisible, they can't see you, and just go away and kind of try to, outlast it. And basically just wait until it expires, but it's 20 rounds of waiting, and that's so lame. Like, I really dislike, quote-unquote tactics that rely on you to, like, just wait somewhere in hiding to, like, to wait for either buffs or debuffs to expire, to like outwait these buffs. That's not really a sound strategy in my mind, and I'm not going to do that. Outlasting an opponent is a viable strategy if you're right there in combat and through your protections and through your strategies you can outlast them. Then that's okay in my mind. But just like sitting somewhere, with like boots of speed running out and being invisible and stuff like that, waiting for, that the 20 rounds of this lower resistance to expire and then re-engaging, that's kind of lame. And so before I realized the awesomeness of the Nishru, that I'm going to elaborate on in a second, I kind of really once like sat down for a couple of hours and I really wanted to develop a strategy that would just be reliable and work without any like saving and reloading and whatnot. And I even delved into like some really roundabout strategies. Like you would go with one mage with mustard jelly form, bait one of these spell triggers, go invisible, go away, then go with another mage to somehow through all this bait the other spell trigger with the lower resistances, go invisible, go away, and then with the third mage just go in with the form we're going to use and then try to defeat them. But yeah, the Nishru are the key here because they are just amazing creatures for this encounter. Just exactly what you need. And because of a cool couple of factors, I'm having this screen open here so that you can read the description, but generally they have also 100% magic resistance and 100% resistance to all the elemental types of damage. And there's a couple of cool things about them. First off, they're attacks that drain spells from the casters they attack. Basically, since they are not real attacks, they don't do damage of any kind. They are coded differently, so they are an extreme exception to the concept of an attack, I guess. And through that, they actually completely bypass the different protections, like protection from magical weapons that the Elder Orbs have plenty of, and that drain spell effect just hits. You cannot protect yourself against it through magic or anything like that. So that's already a cool thing. And the other thing is that they are actually immune to lower resistance. But even if they weren't, you can summon yourself, so many of them, and sacrifice them easily, even if they weren't immune to that lower resistance, and if they got hit by that spell sequencer and got, immediately destroyed afterwards, that would be completely fine too. But, on top of all of their awesomeness against beholders, they are immune to lower resistance as well. So their role in that encounter is going to be twofold. First, and most importantly, they are going to bait those lower resistances spell triggers. And then on top of all that, they are going to keep attacking the Elder Orbs to drain its most dangerous spells. And also by the time we are ready to go in, probably they are even going to drain a lot of its different protections, like protection from magical weapons and whatnot, so that once we do go in, and we're in the clear, with all of these lower resistance spell triggers cleared out, they are not even going to be able to protect themselves for too long against us. And yeah, that's just great. The only thing that the beholders really have at their disposal to deal with them is physical attacks, but they also have 50% resistance to piercing damage that the beholders use. And the beholders don't do much damage in melee to begin with, and even less, of course, with 50% resistance. So that's going to take them a long while to like chomp through a Nishru like that, or having a death spell which they just don't have access to. So that is our way of kind of baiting those two spell triggers. But of course we also have to ensure victory against all of these different beholders and the Elder Orbs themselves. So we're going to do a couple of things here. First we're going to take a couple of scrolls just in case. A couple of scrolls to Senashira. We're going to get these lower resistance. Maybe we're going to use them to speed up the fight with one of them, these Elder Orbs. And we're going to give Senashira some True Sight. She has one of them memorized, and she's going to enter the fight with that effect running. But just in case, She's going to have some more. Oh yeah, I think Imoen was supposed to have the boots of speed. Like, who has those right now? Those are on Kiranai. You can get these. Alright, and here we are prepared. Also, Senashira has that spell sequencer with triple secret word. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but we are going to have some dispelling power against one of these Elder Orbs. And also, if you noticed, these spell protections against different elemental type attacks that the Elder Orbs have included fire, acid, and magic damage, and they do not include cold or electricity. And that's why we have that triple ice storm sequencer on Imoen that's going to be unleashed at some point. But yeah, generally I think we are pretty much good to go. We're going to summon ourselves our trusty Nishroos, and I think I'm going to go with kind of an overkill strategy, 4 of them, while having some... We also have some scrolls of Nishroos that we can summon, so that's going to be, you know, quite an overkill, but, you know, gotta keep up the pace, gotta keep things going. So we're going to have 2 Nishroos, 2 Hakashars, and also we're going to distribute some invisibility potions, just in case some of the beholders kind of get through our lines and want to be problematic. We're going to have some invisibility potions on our guys, so they can go invisible and avoid having to deal with the beholders. Oh, there's one more Gauth. Alright, we're going to have to deal with it from a distance. We're definitely not going in there. We're just going to get our guys out of there. And we still have some protections on Imoen and on Kiranai. Alright, so we can deal with them from a distance. Let's just back off with everyone. And come on, Gauth. Show me what you got. Also going to give our Bane sword onto Senashira.
What is it? Yeah, whatever you want.
Oh man, there's also a beholder already there. I don't really want to pull all of them, so change of plans. We're going to have to reposition. Alright, but that's not a big deal. And as long as they don't come after us, this is going to be cool. Alright, and it seems like we are fine. I just want to have some guys that can unleash some cloud AoE spells available here to deal with that army of beholders, because what we're going to do is of course have the Nishru engage the Elder Orbs to, you know, bait those lower resistances, drain their spells and whatnot. And while all of this is going, we are going to use a powerful resource at our disposal. We have this Limited Wish spell. And if you remember from the Limited Wish, we have the repeatable wishes and also the one-time wishes that we can only use once during a playthrough. And we are going to tap into that resource and give ourselves the spell Shape Change to change into an Iron Golem. And also we're going to give Senashira an Oil of Speed, which is going to get dispelled quite soon, I think, but...
Yes, without hesitation.
But it should last us for a little while. Alright, and also... Okay, you have Spell Shield, you have everything you need. Alright, so basically what we're going to do is first we're going to use that Limited Wish. And let's get our summons here. I think they should be fine over here. And through Shape Change, we are going to be able to assume the form of an Iron Golem, which also has 100% magic resistance, and it also has 100% to all elemental resistances, and it's also a very high resistance against physical damage. So basically it will be able to sit in a Firestorm, for example, like a champ, because even though Firestorm is going to bypass his magical resistance, it's not going to bypass its fire resistance, of course. So anyway, let's just get this going here. Right, so we want to have a one-time wish, and we wish to be anything that we desire, and that's going to give us the Shape Change level 9 spell. And before we go anywhere with it, we are going to activate True Sight, because the Elder Orbs can have improved invisibility. So we're going to start out with that effect already going. And now we're going to, Shape Change gives us access to many different forms, the coolest of which are the Mind Flare, and there are some strategies with using the Mind Flare during a time stop, for example, and draining someone's intelligence. You can actually defeat some really powerful enemies that way, just draining their intelligence to 0. But anyway, we're going to go in as an Iron Golem, and we're going to have our mages kind of close as well. Alright. And finally, we have to go in, because of course these Nishus don't last forever. Alright, so here's the Elder Orb already. So I kind of want these Nishus to get to it first, and, I want to bait these lower resistances, but I still want to have vision and the ability to go around here with this Iron Golem, which surprisingly is way more mobile than the
Just like old times. Well,
I'm just way too tired. Than the Mustard Jelly, of course. So anyway, the Elder Orb has some pre-buffs essentially coming from this chain contingency. It's immunity to abjuration, it's spell turning, and protection from magical weapons. So actually with our spell sequencer, 2 secret words and something else, like a remove magic maybe would have been better, but I wanted to be sure, because we are going to be able to instantly dispel those, the spell turning and immunity to abjuration, on one of these Elder Orbs with our spell sequencer, which we can still unleash as an Iron Golem, and we can also cast from scrolls. That's why we have the breaches, true sights, and lower resistances that we might be willing to unleash here. And when it comes to the different beholders, we want to kind of lure them into our firestorm and into our cloud kills. And perhaps a little bit later we are going to unleash our death fogs as well, but not right now with the Nishus being here, because they are going to get destroyed by it, by the death fogs, but they should be useful in a little bit. So yeah, we want to get that firestorm from Edwin. Oh yeah, that's the minor sequencer with double web that the Elder Orb unleashed, and I want to kind of be out of vision of the Elder Orb. I want the Nishus, of course, to bait that spell trigger with the lower resistances, and the Nishus don't seem to be able to get to that Elder Orb. There's quite a traffic jam here. Right, there we have our firestorm. Alright, it seems like the spell trigger with the triple lower resistance has already been tanked by that Hakishar, so we are cool with that. Here we're just going to get our guys into safety and just deal with this Gauth. Also, this Iron Golem can also dish out some damage, and 30 something, it's not even that, it can go into the 40s when it comes to its damage. Alright, the Gauth seems to not be switching its target. So let's just keep our guys in safety there. And I would like to bait some more of these beholders here and Gauths into our AoE spells, especially into that firestorm that the Elder Orb is going to be immune to, because of that the protections that it has, but it's not the most important thing. We want these spells here on... Right, it just has had a contingency with another protection from magical weapons. That's no problem. Right, our Nishus, we're going to have to get some vision over there to be able to guide them better, because some of them want to get back to Imoen. Alright, so the beholders fall down. We have our guys over here. There's one of them barely injured here. Let's take care of him. Yeah, sitting in the cloud kills. Now the firestorm has expired. That was our biggest damage dealer, but it's cool. It seems like we were able to basically get all of them killed, I think. Here's some... Oh, there are some stragglers. I think there's a group up there somewhere. They wanted to join in on the fight. So let's just use the golem here. Also, Senashira can use her wands to speed up the process a little bit. Let's actually use... Oh yeah, she's under the effects of anti-magic ray, so for a moment she couldn't use anything, but Let's actually use again as our Scorcher here to add a little bit of damage. Alright, there we go. Are our guys safe? They don't need to activate any invisibility. Yeah, so to give you... Well, our Iron Golem actually that we can have only has 20% physical damage reduction, but that's nice as well. And of course, as you can see, completely immune to the different elemental damage types, so can sit in a firestorm like a boss. Yeah, 47 damage on that Gauth. Yes. That's what we like to see. Alright, it seems like also that that other Elder Orb, due to this traffic jam, I don't think it came here. Or it sits somewhere in the back, perhaps, so it didn't like use its stuff yet. And this Iron Golem still has a little bit of trouble with this Elder Orb being right here to move around. And that's also a normal beholder here. Alright, since it's there, our guys are working on him. We're going to summon some more. Alright, Elder Orb, don't you go any further though. We're going to summon some more Nishroos and stuff if we need to, but I think we need another round of our spells here. So let's have Imoen, this speedy Imoen here. Alright, this Gauth that restored his morale now came over here. Not doing this methodically enough. I want to, you know, not have another hour-long episode here. I think we can hard cast one Ice Storm over there. Okay, we cannot. We definitely cannot. Telekinesis can affect... Oh my god, we need to make ourselves invisible, it seems. That's why we had that... option, because they got out, they got unleashed. So let's just be safe here. And yeah, the telekinesis, you know, just kind of pushes us back for a moment. That's why we lost control over Senashira for a moment. Anyway, this shape change lasts for a long while, but it's not that long. I kind of want to, you know, get access to the other Elder Orb here. What we're going to do, I think, is unleash this spell sequencer just to get rid of this one. And we don't even need to aim it that perfectly. Here is going to be fine. Alright, and let's run. Alright, so even though the Elder Orb has 50% magic resistance, it is going to be affected by the cold damage just fine. And yeah, it still has Stone Skin, I think, so, you know, the downside of the Iron Golem is that it only has 1.5 attack per round. So with our physical damage with just him, we're not going to be able to do that much. And for the other Elder Orb, we're going to, you know, have our breaches and our secret word spell sequencer. I think that's the other Elder Orb. Alright, so we need... We need our Nishroos, and I think it's Senashira who has the scrolls here. Yeah, we have some scrolls, so we need to definitely summon another Nishroo here.
What is it?
Because I think that other Elder Orb is, yeah, is right there. So it finally joined the fight. It got stuck somewhere due to the traffic jams. And yeah, we definitely don't want to be in its vision. And we're just going to summon ourselves another Nishroo to bait those lower resistances. Just stay there, Nishroo. Just stay there in its vision. Alright, there it goes already. Okay, now we are in the clear. That was something that I was worried about all the time, is that second lower resistances, like lower resistance spell trigger. Where is that other Elder Orb? When it's going to show up? And when it's going to, like, completely... surprise me. We're just going to very carefully cast probably a delayed blast fireball even on ourselves, on our Iron Golem here. the explosion will do the damage I want to see here on that beholder.
Time to move?
And we can even hard cast another like Ice Storm. Okay, we actually don't. The anti-magic ray was cast on Imoen. They can really see nicely through these corners. I try to like I try to rush this a little bit, although I shouldn't. But anyway, now on this Elder Orb, we are going to use our spell sequencer from Sinashira. Oh yeah, it has improved invisibility, so we first have to dispel that with our True Sight. We're not even going to approach with anyone else. This should be fine. We should have our Iron Golem active for a while yet. Now we wanted, yeah, that's also do a hit in the meantime. Right, anti-magic ray, that's fine. Now when it passes, we can dispel the spell turning, you know, the immunity to abjuration, all that. And then when the time comes, we can breach the Elder Orb and just do physical damage to it. And this one, alright, finally died. Now please go to the other side. Make some space for the gigantic Iron Golem. And I think we can even breach right now. It has Stone Skin. I don't think it might not have protection from magical weapons. We'll see if it recasts that. Right, now we're dealing some damage. Now we're cooking with gas. Alright, so this nightmare of an encounter, like, you know, it might not have looked so bad, but I really do encourage you to try it out for yourself. This whole army of beholders, 2 Elder Orbs. Right, our Nishru didn't last so long this time because they were cast from a scroll, so they only lasted for 10 rounds. If we cast them from our memory, they will of course last longer because we are higher level than that. And the Hackashar actually lasts for a longer time anyway, because it has a starting, what was it, like 8 rounds or something? Yeah, 8 rounds and then plus 1 round per level. Anyway, let's just quickly check if there are any other beholders, any other stragglers, any survivors. Of course we will not show any mercy, and I think this shape change might end on us soon here. So actually let's maybe use one again as our Scorcher. This is going to deliver the damage faster. And what, you're not even trying, guys? Alright, there they go. Alright, so of course this whole encounter costs us, you know, a couple of scrolls. It costs us that one-time wish to get shape change, but I really can't think of any other place in the game, especially, you know, considering what we have access to. Alright, there we go. Our shape change just finished. But anyway, of course, also considering the point in the game where we are, it's just by far the best use of that limited wish shape change, I think. We still have, okay, we still have Arbane's sword. They can deal some electricity damage, and we don't have our chaotic commands. Alright, we're just going to do this as it should be done. Let's just get a quick chaotic commands on Senashira. We're going to get some mirror images, and we're going to be fine against some Gauths. Let's just not push it. Let's not get charmed or anything. Right, it knows, it senses that we have some guys that just went out of invisibility, I guess. Yeah, even though they don't see invisible, they can sense that, man. Right, I think that is it. I think that should be all of the beholders. Senashira has potions of invisibility, so if we encounter a real beholder, we can quickly go invisible and then just apply some serious buffs if we need to. But let me just quickly check here. Yeah, I think those were all of them. So it's been a tough battle, but we have conquered the beholder hive in the Underdark. So before we loot everything and check out our spoils and just get out of this disgusting place, I'm going to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we're going to see each other in the next episode from where we're going to continue our adventure in the Underdark. So thanks again, and see you next time.